This is PRIME7 Local News with Madeleine Collignon, Kenny Hinkley and meteorologist Carl Linders with your local weather. Now, PRIME7 Local News at 6.
Tonight, a hot lunch that turns to disaster for a Wodonga couple.
Murray River swimmers breath tested in a bid to curb drownings.
Beechworth named the Lamington capital of Australia.
And remaining hot and becoming unsettled from tomorrow. Details of the week ahead next.
Good evening. A Micah paramedic helped rescue a man and his wife when their home caught fire this morning.
The paramedics saw the fire and stopped to help before phoning the CFA. Fire crews had their work cut out for them as the blaze spread into the home's roof.
It's a day Roger Dumbrell won't easily forget. Just after 11 o'clock, plans for an early lunch in his Mayfair Drive home went horribly wrong.
Well, my wife and I were on the stove cooking and all of a sudden flared up.
Roger made the mistake of throwing water onto the hot pan, which accelerated the fire. It engulfed the range hood and then the air conditioning duct.
Roger abandoned all efforts to put out the kitchen fire when a neighbour knocked on his door and said, "Run for your life."
Luckily today we actually had a Micah paramedic that was driving past and saw the fire as it was in its early stages and has assisted to evacuate the occupants of the house.
The firefighting operation then swung into action. The member for Benambra, Bill Tilley, a volunteer firefighter, was among the first responders.
It was scary. Yeah, it was just a big cloud of smoke. One of the fires actually fell through the roof when it was trying to contain it.
Roger, his wife, son and Labrador could do little but watch from the sidelines while firefighters worked in raging heat to stop his whole house going up.
We got a lot of new things in the house, but it's no use saying that now because it's just all been burnt.
Roger says the first thing he'll be doing tomorrow is buying a fire blanket to keep it next to his stove.
Well, you couldn't do nothing, so what we've got, in the car and that's it.
And, thankfully, their lives. Helen Bellard, PRIME7 News.
Swimmers are being breath tested along the Murray River in an effort to stop an alarming number of alcohol-related drownings. Late last night, there was another river tragedy in the Riverina, this time in Wagga.
The 28-year-old man went underwater in the Murrumbidgee River just after 9 o'clock last night and didn't resurface. The tragedy happened at a popular swimming spot where the Royal Lifesaving Society had just spent 3 days conducting breath tests as part of a world-first research project. Ironically, the research team had just left for Albury when the man disappeared in the river.
My understanding is the gentleman had enjoyed a couple of drinks, but there's no indication that he was in any way unable to look after himself.
The breath testing researchers are now focusing their attention on Albury. The Murray River is the #1 drowning hotspot in Australia. 68 people have died in its waters over the past 15 years, 4 of them in Albury. Readings are being done for research purposes only. Testers have no power to find people, just educate them. The aim is to find out just how commonplace drinking is at local rivers and how it influences risk-taking.
0.000 as expected, so that's very good. We're trying to get, a better understanding beyond just the coronial data about river usage, how long people spend at the river, their attitudes towards drinking, how often they drink at the river and how much.
A quarter of all drowning deaths in Australia happen in rivers and creeks. 18% happen in the ocean or harbour, 16% at the beach, 15% in the pool, 10% in lakes and dams and 7% in the bath. When it comes to river drownings, there is one big contributing factor: alcohol.
Up to 40% of river drownings involve alcohol, and the victims are found to have an average blood alcohol reading of 0.2. That's 4 times the legal limit for driving and skippering a boat.
And it can increase your, likelihood of doing something more risky than you would if you were sober. So that's jumping in without checking the depth or checking for submerged objects. Daring your mates to swim across the river in strong current, and when your mate might not be a very strong swimmer.
The breath testing research program continues at Norrill for the rest of the week. The data is being incorporated into safety programs which ultimately save lives. Helen Bellard, PRIME7 News.
Lightning strikes overnight have sparked several bushfires across the region. Josh Riberich is at the Ovens Air Base near Myrtleford. Now, Josh, how many fires have started and what's the latest?
Liz, the strikes have ignited at least 5 fires in relatively remote bushland. 2 were at Cancuna and 1 at Sandy Creek, but all have since been contained. Fire forest management crews have spent some time today fighting this fire on the Tawonga Gap near Mount Beauty. It burned through about 4 hectares before it was contained. These fire attack helicopters have been out in full force this afternoon, working on a blaze out near Lake Buffalo, which has burned through about 5 hectares so far and is still out of control. We've been told the fire is moving slowly and aircraft will continue making runs until it gets dark. As you can see behind me, this chopper has stopped for a quick refuel before it heads out again. There is currently no risk to home, but some lightning is expected tonight, which could spark another fire and will certainly keep fire crews on their toes. Liz?
Thanks, Josh. Josh Riberich there. Telstra has shut down an illegal mobile phone repeater device in the Wiradjuri area. The telco began investigating in December following complaints from residents about failing reception, despite a new tower just being switched on. Telstra has spent the past month working with local authorities to identify the source of the interference, and late last week it was found. The resident responsible faces a heavy fine or possibly even a jail term.
Police are angry after an arsonist torched a car during a total fire ban at the weekend. This is all that's left of the 2003 Mitsubishi Magna. The car was dumped on the side of the Murray Valley Highway at Browns Plains and set alight at 11 p.m. Friday. With the mercury tipping 39 degrees, the blaze spread to nearby grassland.
And it's one thing to steal a car, one thing to burn another car. On this occasion, the vehicle wasn't reported stolen to police. However, the vehicle's been completely destroyed and now the victim's out of pocket.
If you have any information about the incident, contact Wodonga Police or Crime Stoppers.
A northeast farmer has been recognised as a leader in agriculture, named a finalist in this year's Victorian Rural Women's Awards. Stanley's Jade Miles is up against 2 other finalists for her work in sustainable food practices.
Women across the country are being recognised for their outstanding contributions to agriculture. Jade Miles has been farming on her property in Stanley for years and is the co-founder of the Beechworth Food Co-op. It's her work developing the co-op to some 800 members, which has seen her named as a finalist in this year's Victorian Rural Women's Awards.
It's actually quite lovely to have all that work acknowledged, but more than anything, it's really an opportunity to fly the flag for regenerative farmers.
Jade's local food journey began 3 years ago when she first started the business. Her aim is to educate people on how locally sourced food systems can be more effective for a community than an industrial one. The co-op currently sells around 500 products from its store in Beechworth.
Within that, we've got about 35 local producers. Some of them just grow garlic and some of them grow a really broad range of things.
If successful, Jade will move on to the national finals. She will also receive $10,000, which she intends to put towards projects to educate more communities on the benefits of regenerative farming.
So things like podcasts give people, a broader range of people, more access to it. And it'll also give us a profile that we haven't necessarily had.
The Victorian winner will be announced at a ceremony at Melbourne Museum in March. Jessica Gledhill, PRIME7 News.
Beechworth has topped the list when it comes to producing the very best of an Aussie classic. The border town has been recognised with the People's Choice Award for Top Lamington Town in the What If Aussie Towns Award.
There's nothing more Australian than a Lamington, and with Australia Day just around the corner, the Lamingtons at Beechworth Bakery are flying out the door. And they're about to become a whole lot more popular after helping Beechworth win the title of Australia's National Lamington Capital, collecting top honours in the Lamington category of the What If Town of the Year awards.
We were just so thrilled to be involved in that and so proud of it.
We take a lot of pride in our work and we think our Lamingtons are really, really good, so I think it's great.
The bakery in Beechworth makes around 2,000 Lamingtons a day. Bakehouse supervisor Cherie Mooney was happy to share the tricks of her trade today.
The key is definitely in the sponge. I think it needs to be light and fluffy, and the sauce as well needs to be pretty good.
More than 1,400 Aussies voted in the People's Choice Awards for their favourite Australian town, with other awards going to the top wine region, pub town and the best place to see a kangaroo.
I think it's a bit of fun and not to be taken too seriously.
The Beechworth Bakery hopes the award will attract even more tourists to the town.
A lot of the people love this town anyway, so this is just another sort of feather in our cap.
Beechworth Bakery is running a week-long Lamington sale leading up to Australia Day. Jessica Gledhill, PRIME7 News.
It's time now for a quick check of the weather with meteorologist Carl Linders.
And Carl, it was a hot one today. Also a few clouds around.
A few clouds, few showers and storms as well for the last 24 hours, delivering not much rain. It has sparked the humidity into overdrive though. 22 overnight at Wangaratta, 36 today. Most centres very humid with the odd passing shower and rumble of thunder, as we've seen in the earlier part of the bulletin, with lightning sparking some fires throughout the Beechworth area as well. With the dry high-based thunderstorms, not much rain hitting the ground, and that's courtesy of this cloud band here along a heat trough that is still fairly inactive because there's not a lot of moisture associated with it. For another 24 hours, we'll be underneath partly cloudy skies and the odd thundery shower. Not much rain expected until around Wednesday, when we do start to see moisture come in from the northeast. But a hot week of weather is on the way, guys. Unfortunately, no break in the heatwave just yet.
Not good to hear.
No.
All right, thanks, Carl. Catch you shortly.
Still to come in PRIME7 News, we check out the Albury Blood Donor Centre's new home.
And spectacular sights and sounds from the weekend's opera in the Alps.
Stay in touch 24/7 with PRIME7 News.
The SS&A car park has become a temporary home for Albury's blood bank. 2 trailers have been set up to collect vital donations while its blood donor centre undergoes a $1 million refurbishment.
It's an urban campsite with one purpose: saving lives. With Albury's Blood Donor Centre in the midst of a $1.1 million facelift, reinforcements have been called in, with these makeshift trailers ensuring there's no disruption to vital blood and plasma collections.
The public holiday coming up, we need to keep collecting. Australia needs 25,000 donors every single week to meet the needs of its patients.
And they're certainly not lacking in comfort or style.
And they're pretty deluxe inside. They're amazing. They're fully air conditioned, all bangs and whistles. It's just amazing.
The donor centre's refurbishment will include a complete floor restructure designed to create a more friendly and relaxed atmosphere. In the meantime, the demand for fresh blood doesn't stop. The state-of-the-art mobile centre here is crucial, with more than 50 donations needed in the Albury-Wodonga area every day. Staff admit the temporary home is a bit of a downsize, with 4 chairs in each trailer. But donors have been assured they won't be forced to wait any longer than usual to give blood.
Pretty much the same hours for our blood donors and pretty much the same appointments. Plasma donors, what we've done is extended the hours. So still the same number of appointments, we're just opening a little bit early in the morning.
The mobile blood banks will run until February 27. The donor centre is expected to reopen in early March. Josh Ribberich, PRIME7 News.
The Border has officially welcomed athletes competing at the Australian Deaf Games in a colourful opening ceremony at the Albury Entertainment Centre. Athletes filed past the stage with representatives from each competing state and territory placing their flag alongside the others. The national anthem was performed by the Wodonga First Scouts Group Auslan. The Deaf Games will continue right throughout the week.
High notes rang out across Beechworth as more than 3,000 people attended the annual opera in the Alps. Now, in its 22nd year, the night featured a strong lineup of Australian talent.
A day of blistering heat didn't stop thousands of classical music lovers making the trek to Beechworth for a spectacular night of outdoor opera. There was no shortage of talent this year, with performers transforming the golf course into an operatic wonderland. Australian-German coloratura soprano Anna Vasega hit all the high notes, while fellow Aussie jazz legend James Morrison wowed the audience as he fronted the orchestra. The star-studded lineup came together to perform a Les Miserables classic. Organisers are already looking forward to next year's event. Josh Ribberich, PRIME7 News.
Still to come in PRIME7 News, Lamington stormed to the top of the local cricket ladder.
And the Border's biggest basketball event wraps up for another year. Lamington have reclaimed top spot on the ladder with an outright win over Albury in the weekend's cricket. The Panthers bounced back from consecutive defeats, dismissing Albury twice to collect maximum points.
Lamington turned their 85-run day one lead into a 124-run first innings lead. Albury back in a bat, Nathan Brown with a wicket. His older brother Ryan's pace also causing plenty of headaches, collecting figures of 3 for 17 from his 6 overs. Lamington bouncing back from 2 straight losses to record an outright victory. North Albury needed 197 for victory over East Albury at Alexandra Park. It was always going to be a tricky task against the Crows' bowling attack. North Albury dismissed for 178 despite Brendan Simmons' 99. Cameron White with a big wicket of Greg Daniel. Over at Les Cheesley Oval, New City managed to hold on and prevent Wodonga winning outright. After following on from their first dig of 91, the Phoenix climbed to 5 for 153 in their second innings. In other matches, Belvoir had an outright victory over the Wodonga Raiders, while Nathan Thompson's second half century of the season helped Tallangatta to an outright win over St Pat's. Meanwhile, at Martin Park on Sunday, Wodonga lost its regional Big Bash preliminary final to Buckley Rangers, falling 47 runs short. Stephen Murphy, PRIME7 News.
After hot weather delayed the start to some sports, there was plenty of action on day 2 of the Australian Deaf Games. There was competition in 9 of the 16 sports featured at the Games today: Tempen bowling, lawn bowls and tennis. The Deaf Games are held every 4 years, with the 2018 event attracting a strong field which includes a number of locals.
We have spectators, we have families, friends, lots of people coming all together, so about 850 registrations altogether.
The Games run all week, with the closing ceremony to be held on Saturday. National Premier League powerhouse South Melbourne FC will play Murray United in a friendly match next month. The 4-time national championship winning club is one of the most successful in Australia and will pose an ideal warm-up for the United ahead of the new season. It's South Melbourne's second match against a local side after Myrtleford Savoy Soccer Club played them earlier this month. In horse racing, Willy Willy won his 4th race in 9 starts for local trainer Craig Witterson. The favourite led all the way and was given a great ride by jockey Craig Williams to win the first race at Flemington on Saturday. While in the 5th race of the day, Cha Cha King finished 3rd. The Peter Marr trained horse led for the majority of the race before kicking again to finish a nose behind 2nd. The Victorian Bushrangers have defeated the Tasmanian Tigers to win the Australian Country Junior Basketball Under-18s title over the weekend. Competition leading point scorer Broden Collins top scored with 19 points for the victors. Meanwhile, Albury Wodonga's Under-14 girls team pushed a number of their more fancied rivals, with Sienna Harvey finishing 11th overall and scoring with 75 points. Still to come in PRIME7 News, Carla's back with a look ahead at your week in weather.
For a closer look at the weather forecast, we're joined once again by Carl Linders.
And Carl, we're getting some unsettled weather from tomorrow.
Again, yes, we've got some showers and thunderstorms about the region tonight. Not much is hitting the gauges, but certainly this active area of low pressure is now starting to become a bit more of a dominant feature, and combining with high heat to produce afternoon showers and storms from tomorrow through midweek and into the latter part of the week. Now on the weekend, we're looking already right through to Saturday on this thermal chart to show you that the heat has not really budged, but it has moved west. So we will get a little bit of a break towards the end of the week from the 40-degree weather. Meanwhile, showers and thunderstorms from now until the weekend could see some storms become severe and deliver some excellent rainfall in some locations, but it is hit and miss weather. We'll keep an eye on the monsoon still. This is the air conditioner that is going to come down eventually and start to cool things down and clear that heat away. It is a large system on our chart, so one to certainly watch. It is all the way in WA, but it has an impact of giving us that relief we've been looking for. Rainfall is patchy but could deliver some worthwhile totals near 50 millimetres. Storms in the northeast, let's dive in, have a look tomorrow, fine elsewhere through Victoria. So in our part of the world we do have showers and thunderstorms thanks to that trough. Humid with temperatures quite hot overnight and quite hot through the day. 39 degrees at Yarrawonga in the afternoon, similar for around midweek, with temperatures not really any different as we track through Thursday as well. Temperatures are in the high 30s as we go through the outlook period. Definitely got some very, very hot conditions. Stormy skies featuring each and every afternoon will bring down the temperature locally. However, we've got daytime temperatures still in the high 30s. A southwesterly change is possible on Monday. That is the first sign of any change, guys, in the outlook period. So a very long, prolonged heat wave still to come.
Incredibly hot. But what about down in Melbourne for the tennis?
So the tennis looking quite mild for the next few days, but hot. Nearly 40 degrees for the finals this weekend.
All right. Thanks, Carl. Catch you tomorrow.
Now for petrol prices, the Woolworths Caltex on Griffith Road in Lamington has unleaded for $1.36 and diesel for $1.40. Across the border, the BP on Melrose Drive has unleaded for $1.38. The Tallangatta BP has diesel for $1.27 and the Liberty petrol station in Hallong has unleaded for $1.35.
And that's all we have time for tonight. You can join the debate on tonight's stories on Facebook.
And also watch tonight's top stories on our website. Thank you so much for watching. Coming up next is 7 News from Melbourne. Have a wonderful night.